We're going to do a bit of a combined 11 now. We're going to try and see, comparing the two lineups, who we think would get more players in the 11. Are you up for this? Doing combined 11?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's
All right,
going to be
let's do it.
interesting.
You play 4-2-3-1, don't you? So we'll just keep with that formation. We pretty
Yes.
much play 4-2-3-1. In goal, who do you have, Henderson or De Gea right now? Who's your
I'm
number one?
Henderson at the moment. I'm Henderson. I think Henderson's. I think he's the future, and our clean sheets have skyrocketed since he's been in as well. So yeah, I'm all for Henderson.
Do you think he should have come in earlier? Because he took a while to establish himself.
I mean, people say I'm being harsh on De Gea all the time on my channel, but for me, I just look at it and go, look, if you're at a club of United size, then you've got to have competition for every single position. If someone comes in and starts doing a job, then the player they've replaced needs to earn their way back. De Gea deserved his spot at the start of the season. He did all right for a time, but Henderson just took his chance, and I'm all for that. I'm a big believer in you've got to earn your spot back. And no one's got any given right to come into the team. You've got to earn it back, and Henderson's doing enough for me.
All right, agreed. So Henderson versus Lloris. Who would you go for?
I've never rated Lloris. Honestly, I just think he's got one of them calamity sort of goalkeeper vibes going on. He makes some absolutely unbelievable saves, don't get me wrong. But I look at it and I go, right now, I think Henderson's more solid. I think he makes my defence feel a bit more confident in their game, coming, catching the ball, controlling his box. I'd go with Henderson right now, but I can see why. Lloris being the more experienced World Cup winner and all that. So, yeah, I would say it's a 50-50.
I think Lloris is underestimated in a lot of circles. And I think, as you said, his reactions and his shot stopping is fantastic. What he lets himself down is probably one of Henderson's biggest strengths, presence in the box, coming for crosses and things like that. He's not as steady as Henderson in that way. I do think Henderson's younger, up and coming. He's probably the future, whereas Lloris is probably on his way down. So if I was to choose a keeper to buy right now in my team, I'll probably get Henderson. If you're giving me a choice between Lloris and Henderson for this season, I probably would choose Lloris. Even though he's had a spell where he's had a few mistakes, I do think Lloris is just about a better keeper technically than Henderson, just about. I do think he's got a lot more experience as well, and he's a bit more of a leader. But I can see Henderson, although he's young, he's going to develop into a top keeper. I'm just not sure if he's at that level just yet.
That's it. I agree. He's got all the potential in the world. I think this is it. There's a lot of fair United fans with De Gea at the moment because of the good seasons that he's had with us. And I think that's going against Henderson. They're blindly looking at it. I understand what you say. I think for a big game, would you risk it? But then again, these keepers have to start somewhere. And you know, he played in goal against City. We're the only team to beat City in, well, God knows how long. Comfortably in the end.
Since we beat them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 2-0, 2-0. So, I mean, we've both probably got props then to really say our goalkeepers should be in goal. Honestly, mate, it's a flip of a coin.
All right, it's a Tottenham channel, so I'm going to go Lloris.
Yeah, Lloris can go then.
Right back. This is a pretty simple one. We probably got Aurier against Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I would even concede Wan-Bissaka is definitely better than Aurier.
Yeah, I think even though Aurier's had a better season, I would say that, than his usual, let's say, sometimes chaotic sort of style of football. I think Jose has got a bit more out of him. Wan-Bissaka, honestly, mate, hasn't had a brilliant season. And a lot of United fans are starting to worry that, you know what, we've got a bit of a regression going on here with him because he's not great going forward. And he just, some of his decision-making, staying in line sometimes, but then again, he can pocket any player he wants on a certain game. And I think if you had, say, a Son or another winger, a Bale, there's one player who would want man marking him, it would be Wan-Bissaka because I know he could do a job.
Yeah, is he that bad going forward? He always got that reputation of being a bit haphazard going forward. But I always wondered, is it because he's so good defensively, like one-on-one defending, that maybe his forward play gets underestimated? But are you saying it's actually really not good?
No, mate, he struggles to cross the ball. His passing is not the best. It's really not. You may see it when we play here at weekend. Just keep an eye on it. His passing is not the best. He does need to improve on that. That's the big fear for United fans at the moment, because defensively we know he can be absolutely outstanding. But do you know what? I think even he scored a goal this season, and someone who was watching the game with me said, "Look at that. He had an open goal there, and he still tried to tackle the ball into the net." It's just his style. He likes a tackle. He's sort of one of them players. He'll let a player get past him a bit just so he can tackle him rather than intercept it, because it looks better sometimes. I don't know. But for me, out of the two anyway, I would still go with Wan-Bissaka.
Me too, unfortunately. Aurier is just too inconsistent. I know he's had a better season. I know he's made less mistakes than he has previously, but you just can't rely on him. You can't rely. Any given day, you can put in a stinker. He can put in a penalty at any moment. So, Wan-Bissaka for me. Left back, we have Reguilon. You have Luke Shaw, a much improved Luke Shaw. He's had a really strong season. What have you seen of Reguilon, though? Do you rate Reguilon?
Yeah, I mean, when he first came in, he looked good. Am I right in thinking that he has had a spell out now? Jose
he had an injury.
Did he get injured?
He got injured at the beginning of February or end of January.
Yeah.
Was out for about 5 or 6 games. Since he's come back, he's looked a bit ropey. Hasn't looked as good as he was before. But maybe he's just recovering from the injury. I'm not sure. But for the past month or so, he's looked a bit off it.
Yeah, that's how you pretty much nailed it. That's how it's looked. He set off like a steam train from what I seen. He looked really good, and we were all thinking, "Oh man, we missed out on someone here." But then again, Luke Shaw this season, oh my God, he has been immense. If it wasn't for Bruno, we'd be getting our player of the season by a country mile. He has been that good. He's going forward. He's got better. He's got more assists. He's actually scoring goals as well. He actually scored against City, so he's elevated himself with a lot of United fans already just with that goal. But I don't think there's any Man United fan right now. And last season, this was totally different, mate. There was a lot of fans saying, Luke Shaw, what are you on about? He's not all this. But this season, he's looked every penny. For me, I would definitely have Luke Shaw in at left back on this one. I think he's good going forward, and he's rock solid at the back.
Yeah, I think if you asked me early in the season, I would have said definitely Reguilon. But unfortunately, because he's gone off the boil a bit, Shaw has been one of the most consistent left backs this season. I actually do, for looking quality, I think Reguilon has a higher ceiling than Shaw in terms of what potential he has. But Shaw is just playing head and shoulders better than him at the moment. I can't disagree with that. So I think we'll put Shaw in for this one.
Yeah,
centre backs. Right. Yeah, centre backs. Maguire and Lindelof against Toby Alderweireld and probably Sanchez.
I've got to say, yours has been absolutely crazy. Has Alderweireld been in and out this season? I'm thinking that's very right. So. He's not been consistent, has he?
He hasn't at all.
Have you played Dyer at centre back quite a bit as well, haven't you, this season?
Especially early in the season, up until actually about January, he was a very consistent feature of the back four. He was playing quite a lot and playing quite well. Then his form just nosedived. He's been absolutely dreadful for a couple months, and he's found himself out of the team completely for about 9 games in a row. Sanchez has been in the team now for a while, still consistently making mistakes. Toby's been very much in and out. We just haven't found a consistent base in that centre-back partnership. It's been really, really frustrating. Rodon as well, we want to see more of, but he hasn't really had an opportunity. At the moment, I don't know if I can look past Maguire and Lindelof.
No, I mean, to be honest, the clean sheets, we're not conceding a lot of goals, whereas earlier in the season, as you know, you came to our place and completely wiped the floor with us, but we have been a lot more consistent defensively. I mean, what did we have? I mean, the Leicester game aside, I think we've been keeping clean sheet after clean sheet. I think in the league, I think that was our first goal conceded against Brighton in about 5 or 6 games. So, yeah, I mean, Lindelof gets a bad rap. The problem you've got with Lindelof and Maguire is they're not suited to play with each other. It's one or the other. And I think they would both look a lot more comfortable. And this is what I said before about Henderson. I think them two are better with Henderson behind them because they know that they've got a goalkeeper who will come and command his box. They know if the ball goes behind him, Henderson's just going to take someone out. He'll literally run through a brick wall, whereas De Gea was a bit soft on that side of it, which I don't like. And I think that has improved both of them as well. So looking at your two, I don't rate. I really don't. You could say Henderson and Maguire simply because the last few games they've probably been the best partnership. If we're judging it off anything, the whole season, you couldn't even really judge it. So I'd have to just narrow it down to the last few games possibly and say, yeah, maybe Maguire and Lindelof.
It's interesting that you say you haven't conceded a lot of goals and stuff this season, be more consistent, but Spurs have actually conceded less than Man United this season in the league.
Yeah.
But maybe you could put it down to the way we set out, maybe a bit more defensive style of play, and despite us conceding less, the quality defenders aren't as good. I would argue Alderweireld is better than Lindelof on quality.
Yeah, I would agree.
I do think Maguire gets in our back two. So I think we'll go Maguire and Lindelof. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you could go either. You could put.
I mean, Maguire and Alderweireld. I meant Maguire and
Alderweireld. He gets in quality-wise from what he's done before. I think his inconsistency would be his only doubt of him in his game time this season. But yeah, I don't think anyone would have an issue with that. That's a pretty decent backline.
In terms of Maguire, you spent 80 million on him 2 years ago. Has he justified that price tag, or do you think he's like a world-class defender, or do you think he'll be upgraded?
I think he's a good defender. I liked him. I just think, again, like I said before, United in the transfer market, pants pulled down, and it just takes it to a level where you're thinking we've spent this much on a player and he's now being judged on this price tag when really he should be just judged as a good centre back that came in, made a step up, and he's adapting to it. I can't believe he's played over 100 games for us already. It is ridiculous. He does not. And the one good thing about Maguire, mate, you could throw anything at him. He doesn't get injured. He is an absolute brick wall. So for consistency, he's good for that. He's getting better. He needs a partner. He needs a partner next to him. Someone with a little bit more pace. Someone who can do a little bit more of the running work in terms of dealing with fast centre-backs, because that's what he struggles with. It's like you throw Calvert-Lewin up against Maguire, Maguire eats him alive. I know Calvert-Lewin has had all right games against us, but more often than not, Calvert-Lewin's game is strength, holding it up in the air. Maguire loves that battle. He really does. If you put a fast, little, nimble, small centre-forward on him, oh, we're talking a different ball game. We really are. He's not. No one at United has, apart from Bruno, has covered their price tag, has given us value for money. But that's just what we're used to now. We pay over the tops for everyone because of the way we run, like I said, and then we have to deal with it and get the stick from all the other fans. What a waste of money! All this United again. It's what it is. And no, he's not. But that's not his fault. He's playing to his ability. He will get better. But until United get their arse in gear and get a decent centre-back next to him, then we're probably not going to see the best of him.
All right. So the back five of Henderson, of Lloris in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Maguire and Alderweireld at the back five. Who's in your double pivot? Who would you play in the double pivot? I know it's a big question in United fans. McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Matic. But who was your picks?
For United, I always went against the double pivot. I hated it. I absolutely despise it. But I've had to roll with it. I would have always put a number 8 in there and a holding midfielder. I'd let the 8 to then roam and go forward and then be the link from defence to attack. So I always had Bruno as the ideal player for that. But Bruno plays further forward. So some would say then Pogba goes into it because Pogba can run the game from there. And he can. He's strong. He can take the ball from any position and destroy a team. My favourite one probably would have been a Pogba and a McTominay. For me, some would argue you could put Fred next to him. Matic doesn't get in it at all. Nowhere near it, in fact. But in terms of Tottenham and making this team, I mean, I'm not sure you guys actually play in there anymore.
We
It
got
changes
Højbjerg
that
and
much.
Ndombele. It's been pretty consistent now for a couple months. That's like our double pivot.
Højbjerg's been a good signing for you guys from the outside, from what I can see. He's been one player, a perfect Mourinho signing. I bought you to play one position and do a certain job. Yes, boss. That's the sort of player that Højbjerg looks like to me. He really does. And if I had one solid player there, you could probably say Højbjerg comes in. But then I do like Ndombele. But has he been consistent enough? Has his injuries
I think
kicked in?
since the
He
beginning of the
scored one of the
season, where
goals.
he
Scored one of the
goes
goals
forward
of the
well. He's
season.
great in possession. His big problem beginning of the season was he wasn't able to last 90 minutes. He had a real fitness problem,
Yeah.
but he's worked on that. He's worked on that throughout the season. Ever since January, around January time, he's been fairly consistent with his fitness, and he's able to last a lot longer. I would say he's actually one of the, on his game, on his day, he can be one of the top midfielders in the league. I really rate him that highly in Ndombele. He's so skillful. He's got a real eye for a pass. And I think the more he plays, the more he gets used to the Premier League, the better he's going to get as well.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, and that you've pretty much just nailed it there. That's how I seen him. That's what I seen him as, and the quality he did have. I think an Ndombele next to a Pogba would be quite a formidable sort of double pivot in a way. I think that would work really well. And I think that's probably where I would go if you give me the choice on this one.
Sorry, one sec. Yeah, we're back. Okay, I think I agree with that. I think in terms of quality, Pogba and Ndombele are the best two. Obviously, it's not so balanced. Probably get wrecked on the counter attack. But I think in terms of quality, is probably the best. Højbjerg has been very good for us. Hasn't been the same levels as he was early in the season, the past month or so. I do think he's been a very effective signing for Spurs, though, and I think he's been pretty good. I've been happy with him. But I think Pogba and Ndombele are probably the two.
Yeah, I don't think there's one player who's had a full consistent season, to be honest, in the midfield or attacking area. I think it's just been one of them really hard seasons to deal with. And I think you're going to find that in a lot of players. It's going to be a bit of an off spell for a lot. So I can understand that with Javier. And I can understand how he would probably get into the team. I just like Ndombele. I just like his strength. Honestly, mate, I just like that sort of midfielder. I know you can give him a ball and there could be three men around him. Pogba's the same. And he would hold them all off without even blinking. And that's what I like in a midfielder. I need him to be able to be strong enough, but be able to do something with the ball. That's my ideal midfielder.
I agree with you. And I think Ndombele is on his way to becoming one of the most effective. He just hasn't quite got that work ethic yet where it drives him to be the very, very best. But he definitely has the quality. Okay. So Pogba and Ndombele there. In terms of central attacking midfield, you've usually got Bruno, who's been unbelievable this season. At the moment, I guess, you'd have to say Lucas there for us, who plays a lot in the central attacking midfield. Obviously, we've got Lo Celso and Dele. They've been in and out of the team, and Lo Celso's been injured. I rate Lo Celso very highly, but unfortunately, he just hasn't been in the team enough this season. I can justify his selection.
Yeah.
Lucas has actually had a very good run the past month. But I think we'll go after Bruno, obviously.
Yeah, I think Bruno's just a different level. He's one player that picks himself alongside Harry Kane in this team. For me, I just think they're a different level. Absolutely different. Like, his goal contribution this season is frightening. I mean, I didn't even realise. In the blink of an eye, he's got over 20 goals already this season. And you know what? More than half of them, maybe 3/4 of them, have not been penalties like he gets brandished with. But someone's got to take penalties, as Harry Kane knows. You know what I mean? They all count. They've got to be put away. But it's his assists as well, man. His assists, he's frightening. Absolutely frightening. And that's why he's in there. He has to be in there.
Would you say to people who maybe throw the accusation at Bruno that when he's not playing well, he's extremely wasteful? Because he's a player that tries a lot of things, a lot of shots, a lot of through balls. He gives the ball away a lot. And when he's not on his game, is he more of a hindrance than a help to the team?
He's my kind of player, mate. I'm a risk-reward lover. I really am. I'm thinking you can pass the ball square all the time and then play up to the stat stations who come up and say, look at his pass accuracy and all this at the end of the game. And said, what's he done? You know, Chris Smalling's pass accuracy was fantastic because all he did was pass it 2 yards. Well, for me, you know what, mate? I still live in the mode of the famous quote from Sir Bobby Charlton. It says, "Never be afraid to miss." And you know what? Playing a percentage game in football, picking up the second ball from a long pass sometimes is just as effective. Problem with Bruno is he does try to force it, and the rest of the team around him aren't on his level. That is a big, big problem that he's got. And sometimes that's when you'll see the frustration in his game. It's like, how is he not thinking on my wavelength there? How has he not made that move? You put a Pogba next to him, different ball game altogether. Different ball game. Same for Pogba as well. I think he finds him. I mean, how do you find a pass from a dead ball against an AC Milan team with a rock-solid defence to the smallest player on the pitch who's 17 and making his full European debut like Bruno does? That's the risky ball, and he found it. They're the differences. Without him, we'd be lower than Arsenal this season. I've said that before and got loads of stick for it, but that's just how I see it. On Bruno, for me, he does try too hard, but I'd rather have that type of player than someone who tries to play a percentage pass.
I agree. And he's having a phenomenal season. So we'll put Bruno in there. On the right-hand side of your attack, who would you say is your number one choice there?
I would take Greenwood at the moment, but I don't think it's his best position. I think that's the position all United fans know we need to invest in. We never had someone who's comfortable there. Greenwood's a centre forward, and he does an all right job at the moment there, but you can tell he wants to be in the middle. Honestly, right now, it could be any one of... it could be any player. Greenwood's the best at it right now for me. Some would argue James, not for me. Greenwood, that's it for us, really, mate. There's not much else there.
And for us, I guess it has to be Gareth Bale on the right-hand side, because Bergwijn hasn't been seen for a while.
Yeah.
Lo Celso's played a few times there. Lamella's played a few times there. But I think in terms of... we put Lucas in the centre.
Yeah,
I know he didn't get in, but I think Bale would be my choice.
You say it's like if Bale's sort of 75-80%, he goes in, doesn't he? He's just one of them. I would probably take Bale there, to be fair. I think Bale would be the choice. I mean, Greenwood plays better than Greenwood
this season?
Greenwood's having a tough second season syndrome, but he's starting to come good now, though. 2 in his last 2. He was hitting the post and having near misses and all sorts, pulling wonder saves, and his stats weren't showing how good he was playing. But I just feel like right now it's a 50-50 between them both, because Greenwood is just coming into form. But on a big game, I mean, Greenwood's a good big game player, mate, to be honest. But Bale probably just creeps in there just because I know what Bale can do.
And I think that month of form as well.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a month, it showed exactly what he's still capable of, even at 31.
Yeah, I'd rather Greenwood not be on the right, mate. I think that's why I'm not really bothered about him not being there. I think he's better in the middle. He's miles better. Okay,
so we'll put Bale in there. Bale on the right. On the left, it'll be Son versus Rashford. Now, Rashford is a difficult one because he's very hot and cold, but when he's hot, he is very, very effective, and he wins a lot of penalties, has a deadly finish. But when he can be a bit anonymous, I guess I could say the same with Son. But as a Man United fan, would you rather Son or Rashford?
I'm a massive Rashford fan, just for his sheer directness of play. He's just a no-nonsense style player. He'll knock it past you. He's very, very, dare I say, Bale-esque in terms of how he plays the ball. He'd get past the player and then just pure speed. And he's frightening in full throw. I mean, people would say he's inconsistent. I mean, he's still got 19 goals this season. You know what I mean? He's still going to break that 20-goal-a-season mark again. I think for the sake of not having a full Tottenham front three, I'm just going to put Marcus Rashford in on the left because I know he's going to go in the middle.
I know, Kane has to go in the middle, but do you think Rashford's had a better season than Son?
I'd say very, very well. It's how you want to look at it, innit? I don't watch Tottenham every week, and you guys would probably tell me that Son brings a lot more than what Rashford would in a game. I mean, how many goals has Son got this season? Is his stats
13 in the league,
decent?
18 all competitions.
So 18 in all.
Yeah.
He's very, very. The stats are pretty much identical. Then I think Rashford though has like 15 or I think 12 to 15 assists as well this season, as well as his
Yeah, no,
goals.
Son has 9 in the league. 9
Yeah.
assists.
So,
I have
yeah,
to put
mate,
Son in. I have to
you've
put
got to
Son
put
in.
you've got to put Son. I've got to put Rashford. But it's your channel, mate. If it was the opposite way around, But you rule the roost on this one.
I can't not put Son in this team. He's had such a good season,
There's
especially how
one
we
way.
started the season.
There's one way you could do it. You could flip Rashford over to the right hand side where he has played a few times this season,
Okay,
and put Son on the
that's fair.
left.
Well, Rashford,
Yeah.
I think we can both agree Rashford's not good on the right hand side.
Do you know what, mate? Sometimes it makes him think less. He's got to do one thing there. His natural instinct is to cut in and shoot now, rather than go out and be a winger. But it all depends who he's playing with a lot of the time. Rashford, it's weird. It is. There's certain
Okay,
players he plays a lot better with. He used to be dynamic with Martial, but Martial's fallen off a cliff this season completely. So for Rashford to keep his form decent still, well, others around him are falling. That Greenwood and Martial, that is. Then he's got to give him a bit of credit for the amount of stick that he's took this season. I think Rashford, but
that's
he's got to
fair.
be able to interchange. I think you can interchange that forward line, and I think it would work still.
All right, we'll put Rashford on the right. I'll put Son on the left, and obviously Harry Kane up front.
Yeah,
The best one. How highly do you rate Kane in terms of strikers in Europe? Do you believe he's up there with the best in Europe?
I'd say at the moment him, Mbappe, and Haaland are the top three. Lewandowski, I don't put in there because I think he's just coming to the end now. I think these three right now, they are all 100+ million pound players. And they're just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal players. Kane, he's just a typical old school English centre forward. Absolutely love him. He gets to a penalty spot, it's no nonsense. He's just old school. Mbappe and Haaland have their other qualities, but for me at the moment, he just keeps on going, mate. Consistency is the earmark of a top world-class striker. Harry Kane oozes that every season, even when he's injured. And people will say, oh, we don't want to play who's injured all the time. I said, look, he's still scoring more than everyone who's had a full season has. So he's definitely up there, mate. I put Kane in my top three. Him, Mbappe, and Haaland, you could, mate. There's nothing
I
in
would
it.
still
There's
put
nothing in
Lewandowski
it.
there. I think his output is ridiculous. He's got like
He's
45
in
goals
that,
this
yeah.
season. It's ridiculous.
I know. I think if you take Lewandowski out of the, I think, can you imagine Kane in Bayern's team? His numbers?
Yeah, it'll be
Oh
ridiculous.
my days! Oh my days! He'd be 50 a season there enough in the Bundesliga, Kane,
I
without a
agree.
doubt. And I think that's where Lewandowski's prospering a little bit. But for me, yeah, he's still the ultimate striker. I'm being mean because he's coming to the end, and the others. I think Kane's prime. The other two are just. I think they're going to be on the next level.
And Cavani is a big stay or go at the moment. You want him to sign a new contract, or are you happy for him to leave?
Again, mate, it depends if we bring anyone else in. If there's no plan on bringing another striker, and we have to keep hold of him just for the sake of having a number and someone who we know can actually win us a game and do us a job if he stays fit. But honestly, mate, I think we have to sign him for another season because unless he's planning on bringing in a right winger and moving Greenwood to the middle, then I can see that working. But other than that, I don't see United going big on a striker. You know what? We just got that feeling that we're just going to have another Sancho saga this summer. And if that means Greenwood's going in to fight for the number 9, I can see that. I can understand the logic in it. But we still need the CDM. We need that CDM. And if it means cashing in on Lingard just to get someone like Declan Rice in, that might work for us. But yeah, Cavani, it's one of them, mate. he looks like he's lost at the moment. It looks like he doesn't want to be there, and that for me tips it in the see you later barrel, to be honest, because if he plays there and he comes on and he's just not there, then it's pointless in being around anyway. But apparently he has been a really good influence on the training ground as well for a lot of the younger lads. So he has had his benefits as well, scoring some good goals for us as well.
Fair. I think he's been decent. I just think, yeah, there's been a bit of inconsistency from him, and he's getting on a bit. I do think if you played him every game, he could give you a good goal return, but I don't think his heart's in it. He just feels like he wants to move, I think he wants to leave. Manager.
I think so, mate.
Yeah, manager. The team is managed by Ole or Mourinho for you.
Oh, my God. Oh. I would just, for the amount of ballers we've got in the team, I would say, you know what? I'll look at it on this angle with this logic. I would say the players from the United's team, I don't think Mourinho would get the best out of. But I still think the players that Tottenham have got in this team in our combined 11 would probably still get a little tune from Ole. I know it's biased, it really is, because of what happened with Jose with us, but I'm just going to have to make up some crazy excuse to say Ole.
I would argue that Ole has still not done better than what Mourinho did at Man United in terms of winning trophies. I know he's second now, but Mourinho finished second with a lot more points than Ole is probably going to finish with this season. So... I know he's not doing well at the moment, Mourinho. A lot of stuff is happening in the press conference and whatnot, causing a bad atmosphere. I still think there's a very good football brain there. I still think this is one of the best managers of all time. I think it's disrespected a lot for what he's achieved in the game. I think people like to bring him down because of his ego and his arrogance. They like to knock him down a peg. I think people enjoy that. So... a lot of it is media narrative, but when he's doing stuff like lying about Toby Alderweireld being in, coming back late for training and stuff like that, I can't back him when he's doing stuff like that, and that's what I don't like. But I would still have him over Ole for me.
I can see why. I can see why. It's fair. I mean, the trophy cabinets say a lot in football, and when you've won so many on different continents, different nations, it's a different animal altogether in terms of a debate. But yeah, I can see it. I mean, I'd be happy if you went and put Mourinho in there. I know why. It's an argument for and against them both, really. But it's like when it comes down to the crunch and you have to do maybe a tactical tweak in a game to win it, would I trust Ole more or would I trust Mourinho? It's the master tactician, as they say all the time, innit? So that would just probably tip it into Jose's favour.
All right. So that's the team. We got Lloris in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Toby Alderweireld, with Pogba partnering in Ndombele, and Son, Rashford and Kane up front. Pretty decent team. Wow, how many players do we have in there? 6? 5? 6 United players in there. Now, I think that's probably fair.
Half and half, innit? Yeah.
I think United do have a better first 11 at the end of the day. But that's a good team. But I think that's all we have time for. Adam, it's been a pleasure talking to you, proving the Man United game.
Anytime,
really
mate.
appreciate your time, mate.
Thanks for having me on, mate. A pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. And obviously, we're going to do a video on Adam's channel as well tomorrow. So go on to Adam Matic TV and go check that out on his channel. We'll put the link in the description below. All right. Thanks a lot, Adam. And everyone as well, please make sure to like the stream and subscribe as well. Really helps support the channel. Really do appreciate everyone's support. And everyone go and subscribe to Adam Matic's channel as well. Really great Man United content. So really appreciate your time as well. And a really great content. So go over and subscribe to Adam's channel. But as well, mate, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for everyone's comments. Thank you everyone's likes and all the engagement. Really appreciate all the engagement as well. So like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.